Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Janhavi Pradeep and today I'm going to give you 8 reasons to read Killing Commendatore by Haruki Murakami. Now, if there's one thing that I would like to tell about myself, I'm a big Murakami fan, and he's the only writer like I follow. I've read almost every book of him that I've set my eyes on, and every book of him that I could find in nearby bookstores and yeah, stuff like that. So I basically love Murakami and his books. And that being said, now we'll talk about Killing Commendatore. Now, why is the title of this book so violent, and why is the Commendatore supposed to be killed? We'll get to know these things when we read the book. Now, if you decide to read the book, please go ahead. It's an excellent book. It's 700 pages long. I started reading it on the 1st of January 2021 and I got done with it on I think the 8th of April. Yeah, the 8th of April. Yeah, that's shameful, I know. But I really enjoyed this book and I didn't want this book to end. But unfortunately, it did. So. Let's get to the point. Now, Killing Commendatore follows the story of a man whom I don't know how to address because he does not have a name throughout this book. Not once is his name mentioned. So I'm going to call him a painter. The painter, not a painter. Because he does commission portraits of people for a living. And he lives with his wife who works in an architectural firm. And his life is pretty simple. It's easygoing. He's making decent enough money to lead a proper life. And then one day his wife tells him that she does not want to be married to him any longer, and they decide to separate, and he does not really object to her decision. So he leaves his apartment where he used to live with his wife, and he travels through Japan, East Japan, North Japan, just does and a solo road trip throughout the country. And then he meets his friend Masahiko Amada, and he narrates the entire incident and what has happened, etc. to him. And Masahiko offers the painter to stay in his house in the mountain in Odawara, because Masahiko's father used to stay in this house, and now his father is really old. So he's been shifted to a place where he can be given medical assistance and stuff like that, because Masahiko cannot take care of his father because he works in the city and his father lives in Odawara and it's difficult for him to commute. And so yeah, his father is no longer staying in the house basically, and Masahiko wanted to find somebody who can stay in this house and look after it. And coincidentally, he found his friend. So even the painter accepts this offer and he goes to live in this beautiful house in Odawara. Now it's beautiful in my imagination. So yeah, he lives there, a pretty basic life. Um he does not have his job any longer, so he's decided to take a break from everything and let the whole thing sink in, the whole scenario, etc. And he's listening to Tamaiko Amada's records and his books. And the one thing about Murakami's books is there's a lot of reference to music. Okay, and you read this man's work and you become a lot more cultured. I was introduced to the Beatles by Murakami, and there's been no looking back since then. Yeah, Norwegian Wood is still my favorite track by the Beatles. Also, Hey Jude, and also I Wanna Hold Your Hand, in case this piece of information made any difference in your life. Coming back to the book, so things are pretty normal over there, and the painter meets a man who is living across him on the opposite side of the valley. Now, Menshiki is a pretty mysterious man. Menshiki tells the painter that he's seen his work and he would like it if the painter agrees to paint his portrait, and he is going to pay a good amount of money to him for doing it. And the thing about the painter was he made portraits according to the people's specification and how they used to look. But Menshiki specifically tells the painter that he wants the portrait to be as abstract as possible, and there are no instructions. He can just do whatever he thinks is okay with the portrait. So yeah, that being said, now, so everything is fine. The painter is living in this beautiful house. There's nobody that can disturb him. He's listening to records, cooking good food. Also found an acquaintance in Menshiki, so he's not completely lonely over there. So one day what happens, he starts listening a bell ringing from the woods which are behind his house, and Hell breaks loose from there, and for that, you will have to read this book. Now, we'll just start with the 8 reasons of why you should read this book. I think this was enough of an introduction. If I go any further, I'm going to spoil this book for you. Okay, so we'll move on to the 8 reasons why you should read Killing Commendatore by Haruki Murakami. The very first reason to read Killing Commendatore by Haruki Murakami is the writer himself. The man is an absolute genius. He's the weirdest, wackiest writer, and I've loved his writing for as long as I know. So yeah, you should read the book because it's simply a Haruki Murakami book. And if you see these letters written on the top of any book, just pick it up. It's going to be worth your time. The second reason to read this book is that the book begins where the story ends, and that's mind blowing. And you don't even have any idea that this is happening. It's only towards the end you know that, I have seen this somewhere before. So, yeah, that's again a mind blowing thing. The third reason being the book is absolutely bizarre. There are ideas and concepts and metaphors coming out of nowhere. Now, you will not understand this if you haven't read the book yet. You will have to read the book for this. There are people coming out of paintings. There are negative auras that paintings have, and then there is quite typical Murakami tropes that are happening in this book. So it's weird, it's wacky, it's bizarre. I don't know how many times am I going to say this, but I just want to convince you to read this book without giving anything away. The fourth reason why you should read this book is Murakami drags you into the unknown. Like most of the Murakami books, there is a parallel world going on in this book as well. The world is full of metaphors and ideas who take the form that they think the person whom they're interacting with is the most suitable, but they have a lot of special powers, but they have certain restrictions as well. And then there is a faceless man in that parallel world, and there is a lot happening basically in this book. Fifth reason why you should read this book is the characters of the book. The first one being Wataru Menshiki. He is one of the primary characters of the book, and he is the person that pushes the painter to do things that he wouldn't have done. And many people say that Menshiki was an unnecessary character in this book, but I think if it wouldn't had been for Menshiki, the character wouldn't have gone through the whole character development arc that he did through the course of the book. He has been the push that the painter needed to do a lot of things. The Commendatore wouldn't have been the part of the story if it wasn't for Menshiki. Then there is another 13-year-old teenager who's also the painter's neighbor, and she is very weird. Very, very weird. She's a 13-year-old girl, and 13-year-old person is basically a kid. What do they know? But this girl's mind functions in very weird ways that can make you uncomfortable. At times, the kind of conversations she has with the painter at times is going to make you like cringe. I mean, it just makes you go, are they both supposed to talk about things like this? If you read this book, you will know what I'm talking about. And then there are many other characters, the Commendatore, and I don't want to talk about any other character that is there in the book. Then there are various other characters that are referenced throughout the book who impact the story in some way or the other. The sixth reason why you should read this book, or any Murakami book for that matter, is that you will be very cultured. You will become a cultured person. You will know a lot about music. Music primarily if you read Murakami's book. I don't know why I included this point, but you should read that. Also, the book takes place in various places throughout Japan as well. Then there is a period of the Second World War mentioned in the book. Then there is the Nanjing killing. I think it's Nanjing killing. I'll Google the right kind of word that happened. Various incidents are mentioned and referenced throughout the book. So you will get to know about a lot of things indirectly through the course of the book. The seventh reason of the book is Murakami is known for his simplistic writing. He'll just describe things as they are, and even things as simple as making an omelette. He will just describe it to you and you will read it because he writes it so fantastically, but yet so simply that you will fall in love with his writing. The simplicity of Murakami book, especially the parts like he explains each and every recipe. This has not happened that much in Killing Commendatore, but if you read Kafka on the Shore, there are, like parts in the book that are just talking about making a coffee or just making an omelette or stuff like that. Many people get annoyed with this, but I love the way Murakami just describes cooking food or just describes the surrounding, how the morning is, how the birds are there in the sky, how there is a crow over there, and how lucky the crow is, stuff like that, if you get my reference. Then the book is finally, I think we are on the eighth reason. I have lost the count. Have I? I think this is the last reason. The book is very, very Murakami. Not as Murakami as Kafka on the Shore was, and I don't know about 1Q84, which is the book I'm going to be reading pretty soon. But the book is very, very Murakami. There is a weird faceless man. I think this book actually checks many of the boxes in the Murakami bingo. I think I will insert the image if I find it. So yeah, there is a very weird teenager. Then there are many holes that take you to a different world. There is a parallel world going on, and a lot of cooking. Not a lot of cooking, not as much as it was in Kafka. But this book is very, very Murakami-esque, if I may. I don't know. Don't hate me. I wanted you to. So that's it. These are the reasons I wanted to give you to read Killing a Monitor, or please just read any book by Murakami. I think a great place to start reading Murakami is not Norwegian Wood. It's very unlike Murakami. This is very, if you read other books by Murakami and if you read this, this is very, very different from what Murakami's writing is like. So you should, I think, I personally would recommend, there's a short story kind of written by Murakami, which is called A Strange Library. You should read that, so you will get a gist of what this man is like. And if you want to go hardcore Murakami, go read Kafka on the Shore or Killing Commendatore. So yeah, alvida for now. I'll be back soon with another video if I finish reading the books that I've piled up. Yeah, that's all from my side. See you soon. Please, if you like the video, press the like button. And if you like the content, if you've seen the video so far and you like the content, please subscribe